We're going to talk about how we can insert pictures either from our computer or online. So the first important thing to note is wherever your cursor is where you're going to be inserting this. So I'm going to click here before every orchid needs repotting. So you can see my cursor is right here. I'm going to go to the Insert tab and I'm going to pick Pictures. And Pictures means, you notice the two options here, Pictures or Online Pictures. This picture is from a computer, which is why it shows a little computer in the bottom right corner of it. And this one is from the internet, which is why it shows a little globe there. Okay, so we're going to click on Pictures first. And I've already navigated to the folder that has my picture in it, but obviously you would need to find your way to wherever your folder was that had your picture in it. And I'm going to select this picture here of some orchids, and I'm going to click Insert. Okay, and I notice that when my picture comes in, it kind of comes in sort of, up and down, and I want it rotated. While my picture is selected, I see that I'm now on this Picture Tools Format tab. And this is kind of a cool place. There's lots of things you can do here. In this video, you'd be bored if I went through and showed you everything, because really this is an area that you can kind of play with and see what can be done. But I'm going to show you how I could rotate. So I want to rotate this to the right so that now it's sort of left to right. I also could have done that with this little rotate arrow button here. You can resize, and the best way to resize an image, typically speaking, is from one of the corner handles. So I'm going to move my mouse pointer to the bottom right corner handle there with a little circle on it, and I can just drag it to be a little bit wider. But you will oftentimes, that's good in the real world because you're just going to resize it to what looks good. But for the book purposes, you're going to need to go over here and set your height and your width to be whatever dimensions they give you. So this is your height and this is your width. Okay, so here's the important thing about images in Word. If you've ever worked with them before, sometimes they can be a real pain in the butt because it affects all of the text around it. And I wish I could say that they've done a good job of fixing it, but honestly, it still needs a little work. But this should make your life a little easier. If you see this button here next to your image, it's called Layout Options. This determines how the text is affected around your image. So you notice here, if you set your text wrapping, so let's say I pick square, okay, I'll see how my text comes around it and has sort of a square edge around it. So if I were to even move my image, say, in the middle of text, see how there's like just sort of this square, I just kind of dragged and dropped it, it would make the text go around it in a square format, okay. I could also choose to do tight, which just brings in a little closer than square does. I could choose through, which if you have through selected, and let's say I do it like this, you can, and I drag it, you can see just sort of how it just tries to space itself as well as it can through the text, okay. Other options are top and bottom, and what that basically does is makes the text around it go to the top and bottom of it, so not to the side of it. Behind the text is another option where literally, your image is behind the text, okay? Sort of like our watermark in a lot of ways, right? And then in front of the text basically would block the text. So in our case here, I am going to go with square, but I just wanted to review all of those with you. But having some sort of layout to it is important, okay? You can see here I'm struggling with getting it to be exactly where I want it to be. I'm going to actually use my arrow keys. It still doesn't want to. Where did I want this to be? I'm going to actually set it with height. See if that helps. Yep, it's not. Oh, this is another important thing here. It's actually good that I'm struggling a little because you're going to struggle too. Do you see where you have those green lines that sort of help you align it a little bit with the area that you want it to be at? So I'm actually going to leave it right there. That's fine. But you'll be able to, when you're doing the homework, you're going to play with it a little bit. You get it in the area that you want. What's nice in the real world is you put it where it looks the best, and you just sort of leave it there. Okay, I'm going to scroll up to the first page, and I'm going to do the same thing here with our water. So I'm going to click here to where it says water, and I'm going to go to Insert and do Pictures again. And this time I'm going to pick this little drop of water, and I'm going to pick Insert. Okay, and in this case, I'm going to use this little rotate button here. So I'm going to sort of give it a skewed, instead of rotating it exactly to a right angle, I sort of use this rotate to kind of flip it around a little bit. and I'm going to choose to make this tight with the text so it looks like that. I'm also going to format this so it has like a fun border to it. You see here under format, you can play with different ones that you think look good. That's the reflected rounded rectangle. You want to be real careful when you're doing your homework that you pick exactly the one that they tell you to pick, because some of them are pretty similar, and if you don't pick the right one, it's going to be marked wrong and you're going to lose ridiculous points on grader because you didn't pick exactly the right one. So don't do that to yourself. Just take the time and find the correct one. So this one here is soft edge rectangle. If you don't see it here, remember this more button basically gives you more choices to pick from. And you may be asked to do things like your border or your picture effects. You can see here, like you could give this a glow, soft edges, reflection, shadow. This is really an area where I just say play. Go in and play. Bring a picture in and just kind of play with it. Same thing with your corrections here. You can correct things, brightness and contrast. This is real nice if you bring in a picture that you've taken and you want to sort of make changes to it. You could even change the coloring of it. And you can give it different artistic effects. This is really kind of fun. I like to play with this. And some, for regular photos, it's really cool. But if you can see as I'm moving my mouse pointer over to it, how it's sort of changing the overall look of the picture. And again, I think that this is even better if you bring in a real picture that you've taken from like a camera or whatever. It's better than this type of an image. Okay, but it's just kind of fun to play with. All right, so the next thing I do want to just talk to you about quickly is let's go down to temperature section. Where was that? I don't remember. This is fine. Let's see. Am I making you dizzy? I apologize. Okay, this is fine. I'll go here. All right, so I decided that I want my online picture. I don't have a thermometer on my computer, so I want to browse to find one. So I'm going to go to Insert, and this time I'm going to use Online Pictures. And I'm going to actually type in that I want something to do with temperature. Word now uses Bing Image Search. Bing Image Search. It used to have Microsoft that it used, but now it uses Bing Image Search. So you can see here that I have a variety of different options of images I can bring in. I'm going to pick this guy for no reason other than I thought he'd work. And then pick Insert. And you can see it brings him in rather large. I don't want him that large. I could choose to make the size dimensions here again, right? Or I could choose to just resize him. But you want to keep in mind you don't really want to resize from like the sides, because watch what happens. See how you're just going to make him like, he becomes disproportionate basically, sort of like those carnival mirrors that you get. It's better to do from the right edge because that will do the proportional left to right. And again, I'm going to do my layout options and I'm going to choose to make him a square with my text so that he sort of falls in line with my text where I want it. Or if I wanted to, I could do top and bottom here, right, and have him be sort of right above where my cool is, like that. And again, all of the same formatting that you can do with a picture that's on your computer, you can do here to a picture that you brought in from online, which is kind of nice. So just kind of play with this, honestly. Come in and bring a picture in from online and have fun with it. Go in and do some corrections and do some coloring, and I think you'll be impressed with what you can do. I think you'll just sort of have fun with it. Any of you that have used like Snapchat filters and all that, you probably won't be all that impressed, but it's still kind of a cool thing. And the other thing I did want to tell you is this layout options here and this wrap text here are the same thing. Okay, it's the same thing.